Video.
As the sun pulls away from the shore and our ship slowly sinks in the west, we have once again found ourselves safely aboard the Lifeboat.
Oh, yeah.
Here in the Lifeboat, you will find a respite, a haven from how it is and a bit of how it was and how it will be again in some form or fashion or shape, or who knows. So for the next hour or so, sit, relax with us.
A little conversation.
Music, jazz, conversation, and everything else.
In between.
Everything else in between. Hi, Jay.
The land between the lakes.
Yeah.
That's a lot in there.
All right. Thank you, Seagulls. You've been lovely once again.
Jonathan Livingston. What was his song?
Did he have a song?
Well, maybe he didn't. Oh, he was a poet, I think.
Yeah, well, he was a character.
He was a character.
Richard.
I see.
The guy's name. Was he a poet? Anyway, how you doing tonight, Jay?
Oh, great.
I'm glad we're here on the boat. We're going to have special guests and fun and hoopla.
Yeah.
We have Zengineer Scotty back there. Scotty, are you with us, man?
I am always with us. Man.
It's one.
Where's your Zen wind chimes, Zengineer?
Well.
I'm feeling the Zen. All right. Let's do a little, is it Donny Hathaway tune?
Little Johnny Hathaway. I first heard it with Cold Blood.
Yeah.
Lydia Pence. A pre-Tower of Power band in Oakland. together tonight. Hi, y'all.
Good evening. Hello, Mr. Vern. Man, that was snappy. That was
Donny Hathaway. Yeah, the Cold Blood was a band with a chick singer named Lydia Pence out front.
Yeah.
I remember them. They were pre-Tower of Power, and they were from Oakland. Now, I know there's people out there that probably know. I don't know that much about it, but that's the first time I heard that song was them. And then George Benson had an incredible
Benson had
version.
that version.
But Donny Hathaway wrote it, and his version is great.
Yeah.
So
Benson's version is just smoking fast.
Yeah.
Isn't it? I think a lot of people do it fast. I like it kind of down and funky and groovy, and the way we like our themes, man, down and funky and groovy. Speaking of themes, you know, you and I are doing this basically because it's all the stuff we've been wanting to do.
It's all the stuff that we've heard
our entire lives, we've grown up with.
Yeah, and you know, you hear it and then you play it, and
sometimes you don't even play it.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
you know, you grow up hearing it, and it influences you.
It does influence you. Yeah, music is pretty powerful in that way. You know?
I mean, I remember being like 11 and hearing Elton John with Paul Buckmaster doing all the layered cellos and things, you know, or listening to Walter Carlos doing 120 overdubs and to do the full Beethoven score on synthesizer.
I can remember,
and that just blew me away.
It did.
And I didn't get. Now I do basically that's, you know, adding the parts into the orchestra, but never had I dreamed that you could do that.
Yeah.
And you grow up with these influences, but a lot of our influences. For me, at least, came from television shows.
Television, when there was only 3 channels.
There's 3 channels and PBS. Yeah. You didn't have UHF with the round antenna.
I don't.
For like you
yeah,
know,
we had that for a while.
You know, Network 69. You know, boy, I wonder what they were showing late at night. 69 after hours. But we grew up with these wonderful.
But yeah, and
melodies.
a lot of the shows we watched, we watched the same shows. Columbo, Mannix.
Oh man, yeah.
There's so many of them,
and they all had great, and they gave time. Now I've noticed in certain Netflix shows and things like that. It was noir. It was.
And they were real big-time composers that did these. And one of our favorites was Lalo Schifrin.
Lalo Schifrin.
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible. I mean,
Bullet, Steve McQueen.
Yeah, the movie soundtracks are amazing. But,
yeah.
But he also did the theme to a show that I can't say it was my favorite, but I watched every episode.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't the best, but it was good.
And it was Mannix.
Mannix.
You know, it was and it was, come on, it's a catchy melody, for Gad's sake.
Oh my
and we
gosh.
love that. So Jay and I wanted to write a song in that genre. And the actor who played Mannix was a guy named Mike Connors, who oddly enough, during his hippie period, when he was a young actor, he went by the name Touch Connors.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a fact. And he's in one of those really classic doomsday movies, you know, where like the group of 8 people is up in the mountain.
Yeah, and they
ring by lead, so they're protected, you know. God awful reasoning like that. And he was Touch Connors, was his name. But we've got this song, and we called it Mike Connors. So
our little tribute.
Yeah, our little tribute to that music.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. track stand's in the way. I'm like the slime.
Oh, thank you, Mike Connors.
Woo!
Thank you, Old Touch Connors.
That was a workout.
That felt good.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, well, let's do a thing that we like to attribute to the writers. All of the writers.
writers
because,
of the songs.
we wouldn't be here without people writing stuff. We like to call this segment the writer's block. We've talked about Horace Silver. We've talked about Johnny Mandel. And tonight, we'd like to talk about, somebody who came onto both of our radar at different times in different ways.
That's right. He was a jazz piano player to start with. And he ended that way. But in between, he went into the commercial field and had commercial success.
So go ahead and do some of this.
Yes, of our
this in thing.
I'm hip with the in crowd, baby. I'm in with the in crowd. We're talking about Ramsey Lewis, one of the greats in the jazz piano world.
Yeah. When did you become aware of Ramsey?
I became aware of Ramsey Lewis when he teamed. Well, I knew the song that he had that was number one in probably 1964 or 5. He had an instrumental hit that we just played called The In Crowd, and that's the first time I really heard of him. So I thought he was a pop star. I didn't know that was a jazz tune. I was, I don't know, 10 years old. So that's the first time I heard of him. But I think that you know more about him than I do.
Well, I have a page. It says Ramsey Lewis was born in Chicago. He formed the Ramsey Lewis Trio after that with Isaac Red Holt and bassist L.D. Young. They joined up with Chess Records. They had a debut, Ramsey Lewis and his Gentlemen of Swing. That's a great band.
Oh, man.
He had the In Crowd, which was just a surprise hit. I mean,
Incredibly surprised.
And it went all over the place. And he just kept doing amazing. He's a legend of jazz, is what he is. But the place that I first heard of Ramsey was on this song that came out, and I thought it was Earth, Wind, and Fire. And it was really cool. It was like, wow, what is this super cool jam thing? And then I go to find it, and No, it's not listed anywhere under Earth, Wind, and Fire. It turns out that it's Ramsey Lewis, and it's called Sun Goddess.
And he collaborated with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
He collaborated with them.
And we don't know if it went #1, but it was well heard by everyone.
It was heard by everywhere I was, and that was suburban Philadelphia. So, for Ramsey Lewis, little Sun Goddess.
Little Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I had this melody stuck in my head, and I hate it. You know this one?
What is that? Honest. What is that?
Is that like a Notre Dame fight song or something? Like Rick'em, Rack'em, Russ'em, Ruck'em, get that ball and really fight? Like shaving.
That's funny.
I don't know. That things just stick.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
with me,
You know,
so.
the songs that stick in your head, the Germans call that an earwig.
Earwig? Not stick 'em on the earin'?
It's the worm that gets in your ear.
Oh, great. Yes. Yes.
For all
like,
my German friends out there.
Like, soap commercials stick in your head.
Yeah.
Commercial music, now that's another thing we have to dedicate some time to later. Is plop, plop, fizz, fizz, oh, what a relief it is.
Oh, yeah.
Melodies, man. My hot dog has a first name. It's O-S-C-A-R. Yeah, if you want to see Tony Bennett sing, one of those.
All right. Well.
Okay, one of the things we like to do a lot. Actually, we're called on. Like Jay and I do music for Hallmark films, and the mashup is always a great thing to do in those films. So we do a lot of mashups.
Yeah, genre crossing.
Genre crossing, subject crossing, name crossing,
Everything.
sidewalk crossing. Not double crossing though. Never double crossing. Because we're on the lifeboat. We're on the lifeboat. How's things out there, Engineer Scotty?
Things are feeling very nice out here.
Nice.
How are things feeling in there?
Calm and mellow.
Well, you're Zen-gineer, man. Let me ask it this way. Oh, Zen-meister, how are things feeling out there?
Quite mellow. To say the least, my friend.
Okay, cool.
They call him Mellow Yellow.
They call him Mellow.
I've been called much worse in the past.
All right, well, you're on that Wurlitzer, man. So we're talking about a mashup.
Yeah.
And
Let's bring two genres together that are completely opposite.
okay, like what?
Country and jazz. And I shouldn't say that. They're not opposite. Some forms of country could be completely opposite of jazz. But let's take a country tune and put a little Count Basie on it.
So how about a country tune written by, it doesn't get any more country than this.
No.
Bobby Gentry.
No, Bobby Gentry.
And she was great. She wrote a song called Ode to Billy Joe.
Wow.
And that was just that the strings in that song alone are worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
It was just perfect. But the way that song is written, it's Southern poetry.
It really is, yeah.
And at its finest. And I really love the way it's crafted. And so we had Ode to Billy Joe, which is a great melody. We wanted to take it a little to a little more New Orleans,
A little jazzy.
jazzier, and but then we wanted to blend it with the Billy Joe. Well, we like to do Joes, so there's this great song called Killer Joe by Benny Golson, and it became a standard over the years. So we thought we would mash up Killer Joe and Ode to Billy Joe.
jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge.
There were, different rumors about why he did it.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, and well,
whoa,
nice. You expect that kind of thing to happen at the bathhouse? Oh my goodness! They've been finally showing one of my favorite films. It's called The Ritz. Do you remember The Ritz?
No, I don't. The Ritz.
And I saw this thing in the theater, like 76 maybe. Jack Weston is running from his mobster brother-in-law, Jerry Stiller.
Oh, wow.
And he goes to hide out in a gay bathhouse.
Oh.
And the bathhouse diva is Rita Moreno.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my goodness, my goodness. You be swell. You be great. For me and for Joe. Are you a producer? Are you sure? Amazing performances. Just killing me with the music. And the star, oh my God, the actors who are in this film that early on. People like F. Murray Abraham, who went on to be Salieri in the Amadeus film. He was like, and here he is as this wonderful bathhouse attendee. Well, can we make a call?
Yes.
Today, I just called, to say things like that. Would you like to? Yeah. I love you. I just called to say I really care. Hello.
Hi there, Jonathan.
Is it? Our guest this week is Michael Spriggs. Oh my goodness,
Mr. Spriggs.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
What?
I hope you're doing well.
Having a lovely evening. Michael, so good to hear you this Sunday evening.
It's good to hear you.
Thanks for joining us on the Lifeboat.
Well, thanks for inviting me. It's a lovely thing. We don't get to see each other much anymore.
I know.
I know.
So
yeah.
we can do that virtually, though.
We're doing it virtually, lad. That's right.
That's right.
Engineers.
Have you ever tried to wear the kilt virtually? I mean, like not have one on, actually. Just dream about it.
So,
you ever tried to do that, Jonathan? It's a nice thing,
many a time, laddie. Michael, for those of you who aren't aware, is like a world-class guitarist and writer and producer and arranger and everything, and we just love him. He's been having Michael, your singles of songs that you wrote. You had Kenny Rogers, right?
Yes, I wrote 20 years ago, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It seems that lately, I don't know why, after all this time, there is a resurgence of interest in those songs. So I'm hoping for the big payoff. I'm hoping that one of these new awesome artists,
Yeah.
like Blake Shelton or somebody, will cut one of those tunes and we can have some great airplay and maybe a little bit of money to go with it,
Well, it's always nice. It's always nice. But you've been a super picker in Nashville since you were before me, so you were 70s, right?
Yeah, I got a super picker award in '79.
Yeah.
That was for the Eddie Rabbitt stuff, but I was getting ready to leave Eddie at that time because I had been in his band since '74.
Mm-hmm.
So we started doing his records in '73, and it was time for me to get off the road. And I had met Carla,
Right.
the beautiful Carla. Oh my God! So we've been married for 41 years now.
Mazel tov.
Yes. So there you go.
There you go. So
anyway, that year in '79, I had played on 3 #1 songs for Rabbit. He had 3 in a year, which was pretty cool.
That was a nice way to start Nashville for you, that's for sure.
Well, you know, as far as the studio thing is concerned, if it wasn't for Eddie, that would have been infinitely more difficult. He opened that door for me with David Malloy and Eddie, for letting me play on those records,
Awesome.
So, and you were doing a lot of work, I believe, at that time with Kathy Mattea. Is that when you started with Kathy?
Way back when? Yeah, well, I started with her in 1990. And
yeah, okay. So it was a little bit after that time.
Yes, but we've shared so many stages. What we recently did, like the last thing that we were able to do at TPAC was you and I playing with the Chieftains.
Man.
Wow.
Finale run. That was so cool.
Can you believe that we actually did that?
Yeah. And then it was like, immediately after that, it was like, nope, no more. And but it was beautiful. It was
we played the last live show with the Chieftains.
It was fabulous.
Wow.
You were fabulous.
Because I tried. I mean, those guys are pretty hard to keep up with, but
they really are.
Yeah, because when they got to New York, they were supposed to do the St. Patrick's Day performance, which would have been 51 years in a row that they had done that. And it was canceled. So we actually played with them on their very last live performance as the Chieftains, that band,
Wow.
So
it was wonderful. It was wonderful.
I don't think that it was intentional. We just happened to be in that time and at that place,
Right.
But it is kind of a mark in history, I suppose, for us. I hadn't even thought about that in a while.
And Matt, hey, as engineer Scott, do we have some of Michael's music that we can play underneath us?
We do.
Thank you. Anyway, so Michael, you're also known for limericks. Do you have a limerick for this evening?
Let me see. I got to be really careful because we're live here. Let me think of something.
This is some of Michael that you're listening to.
I know.
Michael,
there once was a mathematician named Hall, who was neither fat, skinny, or particularly tall. The length of his gait times his waist size plus 8 is his phone number.
Give him a call.
Oi. How's that?
That's a beauty.
I would imagine that you guys know the actual content of that limerick.
Oh, of course. They're all fit. Every limerick is
here.
filthy. That's what they're supposed to be. That's what they're supposed to be. Well, Michael, thank you so much for joining us on the Lifeboat tonight. We're enjoying your music underneath. You're a beautiful person. And we can't wait to see you live. You could be a guest on the Lifeboat.
Oh, he will be. He will be.
Well, I'd love to do that. And
we'd love to have you.
And Jay would be an absolute pleasure.
All right, man. Well, thank you, Michael. Michael Spriggs, ladies and gentlemen.
Michael Spriggs, fantastic.
And you too, Jay. Be well and safe. And I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Michael.
Mike.
All right. Talk to you for now.
Off and how? Cheerio. Michael's actually born on the Isle of Man. Yeah, he's has all this great Celtic stuff in it. Celtic, or is it Celtic? I guess it's sports is one thing.
Wow. Wow.
I'm just saying, it's our drinking time.
It is time to drink. Whatever you want to.
This is the portion of the show we dedicate to have a schnapps. Jay, I'm going to...
Yes, I could use one. And a hand.
You don't need a hand drinking, do you?
That's a highball glass, isn't it?
This is a Reposado tequila. So anyway, this is our drinking song. It's called Cold Duck Time. As we know, Cold Duck is the musician's poor man's champagne.
Woo! Woo!
Reposado. And so every time you can sing with us, you go, Cold Duck Time.
Yeah, you can do your shot or
that's when you do your shot.
Iced tea.
Or whatever you really want to. Laudanum, do we have laudanum in the house? So there's 3 of these, so I'm going to have real quick.
Oh, wow.
All right.
I'm going to show people how to play and drink at the same time. It's not hard.
1, 2.
It's cold duck time. It's cold duck time. It's cold duck time. It's cold duck time.
Okay, maybe just one more time before I take the glasses
Woo,
off.
I'll tell you what.
Yes, sir.
That hit me about halfway through that.
Oh, again, thank you for joining us on the Lifeboat. Joining Jay and I and his engineer Scott and our lovely call-in participant Michael Spriggs, one of the finest musicians in the world, Lenny.
Yes, Michael.
Certainly is. Well, it's what time is it? It's time for arrangement on the spot.
Arrangement on the spot.
This theme was so that's popcorn, right?
It's pop. I think so.
Back when there used to be instrumentals. Remember? I mean, there used to be instrumentals, laddie.
Instrumentals went to #1.
Amazing. So we like to do what's called arrangement on the spot. And I have...
What do you have?
Just before we started, I handed you a numbered chart.
You did, but I don't...
In Nashville, we use numbered charts, number substitution for letters, but... it works really well when your singer wants to change keys in like a half a second and say, okay, instant realigning, you know,
Yes.
recalibration numbers. But anyway, so I handed you a number chart, and the number chart is to for an Irish jig or reel. I'm not sure. It's called the Irish Washerwoman.
It only has 2 numbers on it.
Pretty much. I think there's 3 there. But point being that the arrangement on the spot, you know, we in Nashville in the studio, we constantly get asked to arrange something without even being asked. You know, it's
Right.
like, hey, fiddle dude,
Yeah.
do that thing, you know? And it's like, ooh, okay. And essentially you are arranging something on the spot. And so we like to do it where it's fun for us. So
yeah, we'll just see what happens.
so I handed you a number chart for the Irish Washerwoman song.
Oh, I know it well.
And it's a
What?
that one.
Oh, okay.
So you know, it's like
I've always wanted to play this.
so that's the Irish Washerwoman.
But wait a minute.
So the arrangement on the spot idea is like, okay, now what can you do with it? If the client comes up and says to you, violin man, would you please do the Irish Washerwoman
as a jazz ballad?
Jazz ballad. So it'd be like this.
I've always wanted to play that song.
Now we have a jazz ballad. Okay, I'll go you one more.
Uh-oh. A little Latin.
Tango. Nice, thank you. Okay, well, that was
good.
Our arrangement on the spot.
It's always fun.
Okay, that's enough of that.
Popcorn.
Our arrangement on the spot thing. Okay. Oh, you know what it's time to do right now is to tell a joke.
Yeah. It's joke time.
Too bad we need rim shots for these things.
Yes.
Do
Scotty, this engineer.
Do I have a rim shot?
Yes.
Yes,
In
well,
another
you know.
world, he was a drummer.
Wind
In one of his
chimes,
past lives.
Let's see. Does this? Oh, thank you. Okay, I got a rim shot.
You do have a rim shot.
I have a rim shot now. Okay, here's my joke for tonight. It's not really even a joke, but it's okay. A grasshopper walks into a bar, and the bartender says, "Hey, you know, we have a drink named after you." And the grasshopper says, "You have a drink called Steve?" There it is. Okay.
It's a delayed rim shot.
Yeah, okay, we're working on technology, see.
We are.
And every week we're going to get better at our technology.
We're going to get a new rim shot app.
Yeah. I just want a rim shot person, just, you are here to do this. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, okay, anyway, it's time for Hernando's Hideaway. Key, I'm sorry. Welcome to Hernando's Hideaway. We actually found Hernando's Hideaway, right, in Memphis?
We found it. Incredible club.
Behind Graceland. It had been there for years, and then it got closed, and then opened.
Yeah, it was fabulous.
Now it's in its original splendor. Splendor! So we'll take a moment for restaurants and...
This is our restaurant review section, kind of. Or restaurant acknowledgement.
Or food in general.
Food and music are very closely related.
We think so.
Yes. Ask any Italian.
Mangia, ladies and gentlemen.
Pretty much dictates our life.
Well, would you like to start with one, or should I?
You start with one.
All right. I had just thought of this recently that I had forgotten about it because I don't go west of town. I go to Memphis to do Hallmark films when they do them at Graceland. There's a Graceland series. I do the music for them. And that's pretty much the only time I head west from Nashville to Memphis in a car. Mm-hmm. And the first time I was going out to do a film there, a friend of mine had said, "Oh, you need to stop in Jackson, Tennessee." It's about halfway, a little more than halfway, between Nashville and Memphis.
Home of Wink Martindale.
Is that home of Wink Martindale?
Yeah, Wink Martindale from Jackson.
Well, it's an interesting, cute little town right there in Tennessee. But my friend said you have to... You get into Jackson, and then you drive south on, I forget which highway it is, for about 2 miles south of the highway, and you come to Mac's Barbecue.
Wow.
And I've been to some good places, but this was a unique place, and I want to go back. So
yeah.
You need to do another film and head back. No, Memphis is a beautiful town. They have Arden Studio. Oh, they got incredible stuff. But I want to go back to Mac's. Now, Mac's Barbecue is, like I say, it's like 2 miles south of 40 into Jackson. And my friend had said, see if Mac will tell you his story. So I roll into the restaurant. I'm like the only one in there, which is great, late afternoon. And the menu had everything that you could possibly want, you know, in a barbecue place, and vegetables and things like that, and the dry rub. Oh, I love the dry rub.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's Mac, you know. Mac brings out the food, and so I wanted to just get up a little conversation going. I said, well, you know, are you from here? Or, you know, you've always been here, and that opened the story of how he had been. I don't know if he'd been in the restaurant business in Manhattan, but he was at, you know, basically ground zero for 9/11 for the World Trade Centers. And he went through that experience, and he simply, as soon as he was able to, he left the city and just headed south and stopped in Jackson. Wow. And said, this is where I'm staying, and opened up Mac's Barbecue. But wow. Mac is cool, man. Mac is a good hang. A little shout out to Mac, but the food is just exemplary. It's top shelf, you know, for that genre of food.
Well, if you go a little farther, like you said, to Memphis,
yeah.
But my all-time #1, numero uno, no questions asked, the Rendezvous. The Rendezvous is absolutely, and it's dry rub. For those who know, the wet rub is what most people get.
Yeah, I like the dry rub.
But the dry rub is the ultimate. You get the wet on the side.
Yeah, it's your choice.
You get the best of both worlds.
It's the freedom to apply or not to apply.
But the Rendezvous is right across from the Peabody Hotel. You go watch the Ducks. You go get some ribs. It's fantastic. And you go to, you know.
It was a barbecue moment for Hernando's Hideaway. Hernando. Barbecue Kiss me more. Besa mucho. Oh, your sauce is so good. It's so good. Googie going to straighten you out between jaws. Hey, you want to stay in this zone?
Yes.
And get into some... Okay, this is trippy. Was Not Was, featuring Leonard Cohen. I think we can. I think we should. What do you say?
Yes, we might be running out of time on our show. But we're good. We might go over, right?
A 1, 2, 3. Well, I saw a crowd had gathered. Must have been somebody's shot. Reporters scribbled shorthand and photographed the spot. I moved in a little closer, but I couldn't see no blood. Just a gold-plated chariot rising from the mud. Then I heard a soulful murmur, and it sounded like his voice. It began to sing, it was the king, it was Elvis's Rolls Royce.
Elvis's Rolls Royce. Elvis's Rolls Royce.
Now, the wood grain bar was open like he was about to have a drink. A white-gloved chauffeur at the wheel, I never saw him blink. The bobbies looked indifferent. Clearly, they were not amused. It was just another auction piece, and it didn't matter whose. D-Day was upon me, and I had to make a choice. Next thing I know, I'm at the wheel of Elvis's Rolls Royce.
Elvis's Rolls Royce. Elvis's Rolls Royce.
Well, I made a left at Parliament, and I hit the pedal hard. And I tipped my hat and smiled as I passed by Scotland Yard. Now the voice is talking to me, it says, "There's nothing to fear." It was coming from the back seat, but there was no one in the mirror. I got a little nervous. I think I lost my poise as we crossed the great Atlantic in Elvis's Rolls Royce.
Elvis's Rolls Royce. Elvis's Rolls Royce.
When we got to New York City, the crowds went wild, to say the least, as I steered my precious cargo through the belly of the beast. Then I took off down the interstate and drove throughout the night till I reached the state of Tennessee in the early morning light. There they were, the gates of Graceland. My eyes got kind of moist. Home sweet home to rock and roll in Elvis's Rolls Royce.
Elvis's Rolls Royce.
Elvis's Rolls.
Elvis's Rolls Royce.
Hear the silence.
Leonard Cohen.
Feel the breeze. Oh. Engineer Scott, how you doing back there, man?
All is well in my world. Mr. Yudkin, how are you doing?
Oh, having a ball here with Mr. Vern and yourself.
Doing well, Scotty?
We like to do a little thing called Ask Scotty.
Yeah.
He's the all-knowing Zen Meister of audio.
We need to have a little pondering tonight from you.
A little Zen audio pondering. Scotty, would you discuss with us, please, capacitors?
Well, in my life, I've learned that capacitance is a state of mind. The more we hold, the more it drains us. So, as my spiritual advisor once told me, capacitance is not something to be taken lightly. Hold what you can hold and release the rest.
Into the atmosphere.
Thank you,
Engineer Scotty.
He has wind chimes now. Look
Wow.
at Jay, is there anything that you'd like to ask Engineer Scott this evening?
Engineer Scotty,
Yes, Jay.
explain what the Doppler effect is.
Imagine a train going by you from left to right.
CS.
As the train passes, you will notice an audible difference.
Oh, it's oral.
It's aural, not oral.
Keep it clean.
Anyhow. And as that train goes by, you will become aware that it is a force not to be reckoned with.
It's the mystery train.
That's right, and that is the Doppler effect.
Train.
Thank you, Engineer Scott.
Awesome. Words of wisdom.
We're going to pivot to a little Horace Silver. We love Horace Silver.
We do.
This is Nutville.
Wow.
Here we go. Stay on those bass notes. Horace Silver's Nutville. Oh, well, we come to the end of another excursion. We've enjoyed it. We hope you enjoyed floating around on the lifeboat with us, with our music and convo and silliness and
Our memories.
drinking and
Drinking, yeah.
cavorting. Can we cavort? Is that okay? Sing along if you know. Oh, show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. I had a little drink about an hour ago.
Some tequila.
Well, it's gone right to my head. Everywhere that I go. Over land or sea or fall, you can always hear me singing a song. Show me the way to go home. Good night, folks. We'll be here next week. Please join us. Good night.
Thank you.